Good afternoon, everyone. We'll have another attempt at today's reading. I do apologise about that earlier. If you did manage to catch my little foible version that suddenly stopped. Videoed, I obviously must have pressed the stop button at some stage without realising it. Uploaded it to the computer, had a shocking migraine by that stage, so I crawled off to bed for a couple of hours, woke up, thought I'd just check it, and then went, oops, this isn't what it was supposed to be. So I do apologise. So we'll have another go at today's, and it'll be really interesting to see whether the same cards come forward. Now, I can't remember what order I did it all in. What I want to have a look at today is Gislane Maxwell. Will she flip? Every time I've read on her, I have yes. Her sentencing is coming up in late June, so it's about 6 weeks away. I want to have a quick look at the Havana hotel blast and gas leak to see whether that was a deliberate or accidental, or can they tell anything more about that to us, and also a look at the what's his name, Ferdinand Marcos in Indonesia, which is now guaranteed to be the new President, Prime Minister, whatever they have in Indonesia, is the son of the late Ferdinand Marcos Sr. and Imelda Marcos, who stole $10 billion out of the Indonesian economy and were ousted in a coup in the 90s. So it's just interesting that his son is now ready to take over the presidency, and his son is basically very much in the same vein as of his father. So short memories by the sounds of it. So where do we start? Okay, I'll have a look at the Afghanistan to start with, because it's the first on my list. So what's recently come out of Afghanistan is that the ever since the US pulled out, which Joe Biden had no choice on, it had already been arranged by the time he came to office, the Taliban came back into power very rapidly. I mean, if you tell them when you're going to leave, then they're going to just prepare themselves and sit back to take over when you're out of the building. So the Taliban came back to power. They have since brought in the old new draconian laws that women cannot go to secondary school. They can only have a primary school education. Women are, unless it is an essential service that no man can do, they're not allowed to work. And they've now brought in the wearing of the full burqa. Now, if you're not sure what the burqa is, there are various styles of headdress and wear that the women of the Quran faith do wear, but the burqa is the most oppressive. It's the full covering with just the mesh eyepiece there. So they've now brought in that every time a woman leaves the house, she must wear this dress item. She gets 2 warnings, and on the third occasion, if she leaves the house wearing this item, her nearest male relative will be put into jail for 3 days. So the authorities go to the men of the family and tell them that this woman has not covered herself as they dictate. I find it quite interesting. The Quran advises its followers to dress modestly. It does not dictate that this is what women should wear. Men along the way, and what is it with men? Conservative, right-winged, autocratic men, the world, but the Quran advises to dress modestly. The men have decided that modest is from navel to knee for men, and for women there must not be any flesh exposed whatsoever. So I'm not quite sure at the double standard there. But I want to have a quick look at Afghanistan. Actually, I'll grab different cards for that. I'll use these ones, my Gilded Tarot Royale, because I am looking at the women of Afghanistan. I have read on it before, a while ago now, 8 months ago, something like that, 6 months ago, when the US originally pulled out of Afghanistan, about the future there. And what I came back with was that it will get worse before it will get better for women, but it will get better, but it will take around the decade. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not quite sure what question I want to ask on this. I just want to make people aware that this is what our sisters in other parts of the world are going through. Tell me about this modesty, the re-implementation of the burqa. Please tell me about in Afghanistan. Please tell me what is it that the women will be going through. Oh, I'm getting cards thrown out at me everywhere. Choices has leapt out. It's actually leapt out twice while I was shuffling. Choices. There will be choices to be made. Okay, tell me about the reintroduction, the future for women in Afghanistan. Tell me about the future for women in Afghanistan. I feel short-term despairing, but there's this tiny little acorn of hope there. Tell me about the women in Afghanistan, please. Tell me about the women in Afghanistan, please. Oh, I don't know that I've got the right deck for this. Tell me about the women in Afghanistan. Tell me about the women in Afghanistan. Right. Let's have a look. Ooh. Okay. New beginning. Very powerful new beginning. Very strong. Financial and health-wise. Crossed by. This is... I know technically she's not the most powerful woman in the queen out of all the queens in the deck, but to me she is the most powerful, because she is the inspirational female coming forward. So this is different than what I drew this morning. I'm just wondering whether because I had that migraine this morning I just needed to clear some energies out. But this is telling me that change is coming, and the change is coming via this powerful femininity. Now, whether it's a male or a female, I don't know. This feminine power. Okay, underneath we've got the Lovers, which is all about contracts, agreements, but I'm just looking at the power of that male there as opposed to the spirituality of the female. So he's very grounded, wearing his heavy armour of the old Roman times, where she is more of a free spiritual figure. So what I'm feeling is that underneath all this, and behind the scenes, these women are not taking this lightly. They will comply, but there is stuff happening behind the scenes. In the past we have the moon. Can mean murky underbelly, but I'm really feeling that in regards to this is women have seen a different side. They have seen the other side of the moon. They have been exposed during the 10 years or so of US occupation. They have been shown a different path, and this is very much about crawling out of the still waters and following this path. You've got your two pillars of wisdom there, and you've got this crab who's just quietly working this machinery that is turning this moon. That's in the past. So this is telling me that that the women have had a taste of it, and that's what I've read. That's what I read last time from memory. That women have had a taste of it, and they want it back again. Chariot, things will come forward quite quickly in regards to this, and there will be choices to be made. So this is the potential outcome. Look at this female figure sitting regally upon this chariot. I'm seeing that this is this female energy going through these cards. Movement forward. I don't think so much that's going to happen. I just think there's going to be movement forward. Now, if you have a look at this, she does have, aside from the fact she's not dressed according to the Quran, but she has these cloths here that she can draw across so that she can be behind the scenes making things happen as the chariot is moving forward. It is all about the youth. So we've got this Queen of Wands and we've got the Two of Wands. This youth, and it looks like I was thinking for a second he was the Page of Wands, because he's got over his shoulder a staff with a bag of his possessions tied onto it as he's about to set off on this new path. Now, this is a choice. Twos are about choices. This is a choice that he has to, or she is going to make about which path they want to follow. External influences. Oh, well, yeah, this is the male dominance. But it is also about, so you've got victory here as well. I'm wondering if there's another country that's going to be somewhat influencing Afghanistan. So you've got this, again, another wands, the Six of Wands, usually the victory card. It is a male riding in on his horse, but I'm just wondering whether it is just a masculine energy. And this is the external influence. For some reason, I'm really drawn to Ukraine, that the women of Afghanistan are going to get inspiration from the women of Ukraine. Don't know quite how or why. Internal influence, the King of Pentacles. This is the menfolk keeping control. This is the internal influence at the moment, is the King of Pentacles. The menfolk keeping control of the money, keeping control of the domestic situation. Hopes and fears is the Wheel of Fortune. This is the Karma card. This is the Destiny card. This is fate coming to the fore. Things are going to end and new beginnings are going to begin. Doors are closing, doors are opening. But it is about this wheel that is perpetually turning, and as one door closes, another one opens. Now, it is both a hope and a fear. It is a hope for the women, and I really don't understand, if anyone can explain it to me, what is it that these men fear so much from women, whether it be the Republican lawmakers in the US, or the Taliban, or the any other society that is trying to keep the women downtrodden. What is it that they fear from the women? Okay, this is about the future of women in Afghanistan, and it may simply be that I'm getting a different reading now because of the way I've asked the question as opposed to this morning. A new beginning, but it is a slow burning beginning. It is a passion that needs to be kept alight, to warm yourself by, but it is slow. And then the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords. So whomever this figure is going to ignite this passion, bring forward this truth with the dove of peace. Now, often the sword will be piercing a crown. There is no crown in this. It is purely a sword that has been unsheathed from its scabbard, and it is bringing forward wisdom and truth and a new intellectual beginning, and a new beginning of a just trying to think how to explain it, of cutting through with the truth. And then we have this dove of peace. So, I love these two together. Right, next card, Page of Swords. And so this is again telling me, combining with this one, this is the youth. This is the young people. These are the young people who knew no different than what life was like under the US rule. Now, I'm not condoning what the US did in Afghanistan at all. It's just that there is an entire generation of youth that have grown up and seen things differently, and they will be the ones that bring forward this fight, that light this fire. So you've got this feminine energy here, this flame of a new beginning, this passion of a new beginning, burning and warming, keeping the hearth warm. Then we have the truth, and we have the youth bringing forward the truth. Right here and now, base of the pack, betrayal, deception, deceit, blah, 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 all that lovely stuff. Knight of Pentacles, which is the mercenary, but it's also slow and steady progress. There's slow and steady progress behind the scenes. And then we have the Star of Hope. So I don't think it gets much better than the Star of Hope. So that is a little bit different from this morning's reading. It may just be how I worded the question, possibly just even in my mind if I verbally worded it the same. So the message I got this morning was that we're still looking at about that 10-year period before real westernized change comes through. But this is very telling me about, don't give up the hope, burn, keep the light burning behind the scenes. Teach your girls quietly, teach your sons quietly to respect women, and this time will pass. It will take time, but this time will pass. And with the hope and with the Wheel of Fortune there, it gives me a lot of faith. Okay, next I wanted to have a look at Havana, the Havana hotel explosion, the gas leak. Now I know what the cards told me this morning. I don't know how much you caught this morning, but we'll have another look. I'll just have a look at it. The Havana explosion killed 32 people, 60 odd in hospital. Oops, excuse me for a second. I just want to see whether it's been called an accident by the government there. Just want to see whether it was actually an accident. Please tell me about the Havana gas leak, the Havana gas leak. Please tell me, was it an accident? Was it an accident, or was it targeted? Was it an accident, or was it targeted? Please tell me about the Havana gas leak. I've got the wrong cards there. Sorry, I'll go back to my Gilded Tarot Royale, which is telling me. I had my Mystical Manga, which are my political cards. On the bottom. Sadness, loss. That'll be the 32 dead. Tell me about this Havana gas leak, please. I'll save my political cards for my Marcos bit at the end. Please tell me about the Havana gas leak. Please tell me quickly. Havana gas leak. Havana gas leak. Was it accidental, or was it a deliberate target? Tell me about the Havana gas leak. Tell me about the Havana. It's raining here today, makes the cards all sticky. Tell me about the Havana gas leak. Tell me about the Havana gas leak, please. Right. I think all these cards, what they're telling me, it's a lead on from the reading I did this morning. So what I'll do is I'll just sort of add it on to what I read this morning so that we get a fuller picture for it. So what signifier, clarifiers. Okay, interesting. What I did get this morning is I got very much that the gas leak was accidental, wasn't deliberate, but what it was that it was due to a lack of maintenance. However, there had been payment for the work to be maintained, for the lines to be maintained. The money was taken and the work was not done, is what I got this morning. What I'm getting now is that it's a very emotional time with what has happened, but the support has stepped up in regards to helping those who have survived. There will be, I believe, some international help coming in regards to this. So it was not a targeted bombing or anything like that. It was a gas leak explosion. However, it was caused by someone not maintaining as they had been paid to do so, which is these cards being played very close to the chest. Someone's very insecure about this. They've put the money in the box and slipped out the back door type thing. The truth is going to come out around in regards to this. There will be restoration. So we've got the Star of Hope. There will be the truth that comes out will go towards restoring the country itself as the corruption is exposed, and there will be full illumination, and it will end up a positive outcome, as awful as it is at the moment. I know I keep coming up with positive outcomes, but the truth will come out. The truth will come out, which will lead to healing, which will lead to a brighter future for Cuba. I believe Cuba is in Havana is in Cuba. When you think about it, it's spent how many decades under dictatorships where there was just mass corruption. Apparently, if you go there, it's like walking into a time warp of the 1950s, 1960s. Nothing really has changed. Had a friend who landed there. He was sailing his boat and landed in Cuba. Was mugged literally minutes with it, getting off his yacht. It was just one man. It wasn't as though it was a fancy yacht or anything like that. It was just a one-man vessel. Was mugged. Went to the police, but because he had no identification, they threw him straight into jail, and there he sat for about 10 days with very minimal food because the Australian authorities weren't contacted. So it is very much or has been very much backward, but these sorts of instances are going to expose the truth of what is going on there at the moment, and there is hope for a much brighter future. Base of the pack, we have the thief in the night taking off with what does not belong to them, stealing from the armoury, which is the stealing of the monies without doing the work. But this sort of incidents does mean it is being exposed, and there will be forward movement in regards to the plan of this country moving out of troubled waters. And then we have the Tower. Now the Tower sounds quite dramatic, and often is quite dramatic, but it is about breaking down of old systems so that new systems can be rebuilt. There is going to be some opposition to this. There is going to be some restrictions of those that have perhaps been a little loose with the truth, and there will be victory as the country chooses to follow this new path towards the light. We have the Wheel of Fortune, Karma and Destiny, followed by the World, which is a culmination of all that is fabulous. So I think what this blast is in many ways a catalyst for Cuba moving forward, getting rid of corruption, etc. Okay, going to have a quick look at Gislane Maxwell, who's coming up for sentencing in about 6 weeks. See what they say to me this afternoon. I did, every time I read on Gislane, I didn't see her life in danger last time I read. That was about 6 months ago after she was arrested. I saw that there are a lot of people who are extremely worried about what she knows. I also have seen that Jeffrey Epstein, even though he physically suicided himself, he was assisted. He wasn't someone didn't necessarily murder him, but they supplied the means and the encouragement for him to do so. So all a bit sus. So Gislane, she's been in, it might have been in more than 6 months ago that I read on it. So she's been in solitary confinement since her arrest 2 years ago. She's now out of solitary, where she was under almost constant watch. She is now in a dormitory with other women, so she hasn't got her own private cell. I don't know how many others are in there with her. The feeling I got this morning, really powerful feeling, is that in that dormitory there is a plant. There is someone who will try and persuade her, or will try and glean some information, but there is someone in there with her who is a spy in the camp, a whistleblower type person, is what I really got this morning in a feeling. But I just want to see what the cards say. Will Gislane Maxwell, will she flip? Will Gislane Maxwell, in an attempt for a lighter sentence, because she is now 60, so she's not a young thing anymore, will Gislane Maxwell, used to a life of luxury, her father Robert Maxwell was extremely wealthy, Rupert Murdoch type, manifestation, possibilities, bringing every tool to the table, every card in the deck to the table. Robert Maxwell was a Rupert Murdoch type media tycoon of his day, so she's always had a life of wealth and luxury. Will Gislane Maxwell give up? Will she? Do not underestimate this woman. Do not underestimate her. So this morning I got, as usual, which I have had every time I've read on her, extreme disappointment. She's been kept her mouth shut to cover for these powerful men that she thought would help her, and they have turned their backs and assumed that she would stay quiet. So I just want to see, tell me about Gislane Maxwell. Gislane Maxwell. Will she flip and give up? Will she flip and give up names? Will she flip and give up names? Righty-ho, let's have a look at Gislane, see what she's up to. Oh, Sword of Truth. Sorry, these get a bit glary, these cards, these Gilded Tarot, Golden Universal Tarot. Piercing the crown. The truth is going to come forward. Wow. Signifier. Challenged by a harsh truth coming forward. Or maybe that shouldn't be challenged by, should just simply be complemented, exacerbated by down the bottom, contracts and agreements coming together. There are agreements. Now, being cups, I'm wondering if these reflect the Page of Cups, Queen of Cups, etc., where a Knight of Cups, where something's going to be offered, something's going to be revealed, coming together with those two cups in some sort of agreement past. Oh, here's this disappointment card. Comes up every time I read on Gislane. Disappointment. She thought they had her back, and it's been her belief that she would be immune has been absolutely shattered. Oops, woohoo. So the question was, is she going to flip and give them up? Well, do I need to answer that one? Patience, people. It is a plan that is coming to fruition. The ship is coming in regards to this. The ship is coming in. Internal influences. She is finding the burden of what she's carrying difficult. She wants to put it down. She wants to put it down. External influences. Usually this is, for an Australian term, argy-bargy, infighting, squabbling against each other. But this is more about, so this is the external influence, and this is what she knows. And this is what she's worried about. And you'll notice here that no one person is flogging on any other one person. She knows all about all these connections. Wonder if this is a throwing under the bus. Ooh, hopes and fears. There is a lot of anxiety about what she knows. There are quite a few people that are not sleeping very well about what she knows, but she is also not sleeping very well, tossing up this decision as to whether she sacrifices them for herself. Page of Wands, the communicator, coming forward with a message, in regards to, this is usually my Russia card, but I'm getting in regards to the young women, the abundance that was presented, and those that were working behind the scenes. So in this particular deck, you'll notice there is this youth up here, dark-headed youth, very possibly representing Gislane herself, who is actually doing the physical work. And then you have this, it can often mean solid foundation, but in this particular deck, to me, it is about these two authority figures here is standing to the side and just watching this other person doing all the work, basically. So it is about money laundering, dark money, one doing all the work while two are standing back, thinking themselves secure. So it's really those in authority, or those the males with the thinking themselves safe and just standing back. But we've got this new start, sacrifice, the lawmaker, but also very much about the truth, messages of the truth coming forward, a lot of insecurity, a lot of having to defend themselves. She's juggling about what to actually put forward. And this is the powerful, inspiring feminine energy. Past. She's going to walk away from the past walk away from what no longer serves her, walk to a better future for herself. You have this, okay, these are still on the top of the deck. Fabulous story. This is the betrayer. The betrayer. So she's going to reveal. She is going to double reveal. She is going to reveal the truth. She is at a crossroads in regards to the truth. But yes, she is going to, and some are going to be hurt and retreat. But while she moves on to calmer waters, base of the pack. Celebration. Celebration. This is her in her gilded luxury of the past. The strength. Something to be hidden that needs to be revealed. The Tower. The King of Swords bringing forward this truth, this Tower moment truth. And then Karma coming and biting them on the bum. So that's a fair swag of a story there. Again, I am not going to alter my impression that I get, the feeling I get from both spiritually and from the cards, that there's some really worried people out there at the moment, and she is going to expose them to the lawmakers, these powerful men. I'm not going to alter my opinion on that, whether it happens before her sentencing or after. I really feel like there's something going on there, and I have all along. And I don't know that it'll come out until just before her sentencing or as part of it. Okay, very quickly, because we're up to 36 minutes already. I want to have a look at the future of Indonesia under Ferdinand Marcos. Now, as I said in my introduction blurb, 80% of eligible Indonesians came out. They voted. Ferdinand Marcos has double what his nearest opponent has, so he is guaranteed to be sworn in at the end of May as the new president or prime minister or leader or whatever it is of Indonesia. It's a 6-year term. However, whether during that 6-year term he then declares himself leader for life or whatever, I don't know. I'll read on that another day. But he is the son of the original Marcoses who, as I said, stole 10 billion with a B out of the Indonesian economy during corruption. Those that were involved did very, very nicely, thank you very much. Those that weren't involved suffered horribly. What you do find is that there is a shortened lifespan for those that are not wealthy. They don't have a particularly good education system, from what I understand. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Particularly good education or health system. It's not what we would call first class. So the lifespan of those who don't have a lot is significantly reduced. So 30 years ago is a full generation ago. Anyone under 40 would not remember the time of obscene wealth being displayed by some and extreme poverty being put upon others. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has very much followed in his father's footsteps of believing that he is worthy and those that his cronies are worthy, and apparently there has been very much a very significant social media campaign to get the youth, and as I said, anyone under 40 wouldn't remember, showing my age because I do, to rewrite history of this period of his father being a time of wealth and prosperity for all. It wasn't, but this is the message that is getting out. This is the overpowering message that is being spread, that it was a time of wealth for all. Oh, look what popped out. Illusion and delusion. Illusion, yeah, very much so. Delusion, pulling the wool over the eyes, rewriting history, and sadly it is being believed. So, yes, it was a time of quite good infrastructure growth, etc. But it was the case of give the tender to the crony who gave me a kickback, and the crony took half the money and only spent half the balance on actually building the whatever it was. So yes, there was a lot of building, but there was a lot of corruption as well. So 10 billion is a lot of corruption when you're talking 30 years ago. Okay, tell me about the future for Indonesia. It's a given under Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Tell me about the future of Indonesia, the future of Indonesia, the future of Indonesia. Okay, what have we got here? Two signifier cards. Actually, I think what it is I'll bring it down. I'm going to do a full Celtic cross with this. This is the illusion that they're under, that it was a glorified period going back to the past. It was a time of victory and wealth and superiority, etc., etc. So that's the story that's being told. I'll talk about the cards I got this morning, seeing on how this comes out. So here we've got the Empress, abundance, wealth. In the past is the harsh truth, but it is in the past. The harsh truth, the reality, has been buried in the past. This is all about abundance, this illusion of how fabulous it was back in the past, which has led to Ferdinand's victory. It is all about, now look at the jewels dripping off this Empress. She's not about an earth Empress, often can mean, of the earth, but in this particular one, she's very much the jewel bedecked opulence, abundance, potential future. I got this one this morning. There is a plan, there is a ship waiting for a ship to come in, there is a plan coming to fruition, but it is all very much delusion. So what I got this morning was that it's going to be fabulous for those that are in on it, but for those that aren't, it's not going to be so good. But we'll keep going with this reading. But yeah, this image that's been put forward is very much an illusion. Yeah, this is what I got this morning. Slightly different order. External influences is that those that don't have will find it extremely difficult and will be shunned out in the cold. The elderly, the disabled, the undereducated, those that don't have the means to be in will be out. Internal influence is the Hermit, the Sacrifice card. Can also mean introspection and investigation and isolation, but what I'm getting very much is that these who are not on the inner circle will be very much shunned, isolated, out in the cold. The hope and fear, wow. The hope and fear that he's going to just nick off with the crown jewels, nick off from the armory, betray, sabotage, take his gilded swords. The final outcome is the Ace, the Sword of Truth. So this is interesting. The Sword of Truth piercing the crown Now these are the same clouds of this delusion card. So what this is very much telling me is that the truth is actually going to come out. It's going to be exposed and it will create a new beginning. We have this powerful feminine figure talking about domestic security and domestic wealth and contracts, agreements and contracts. Okay, wonder who this woman is. Who was the opposition? Lenny Robredo. There will be a choice. So we've got two twos. There will be a choice that will need to be made about what direction people go in from now on in, and then we've got this Ace of Coins. So she's holding the Ace of Coins, two aces. These are bookended by two aces. Authentic reform will be coming forward as the murky underbelly is exposed. Marcos will find himself treading a tightrope. The truth is going to propel him towards moving on, moving on, and an inevitable ending, and then a rebalancing, and then the Star of Hope. And I had these ones, actually all three of these, and they're all major arcana to finish up with, so take note. I'm not seeing that it's going to be horrifically terrible under him, but I am seeing that he's going to try and implement the old ways, and in the new society that's just not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. What I've got at the base is the Emperor, the Patriarch, my way or the highway, which is the lesson he learnt off his father, but that's not going to cut it anymore on the world stage. Another two, a decision to be made. He's going to have to defend himself. He's going to have to make some choices, some difficult choices, but it is not going to end well for him. So what I'm getting very much for Indonesia is basically the truth of the past has been distorted quite significantly. He has gotten in, he's going to fall back into old habits, but that it's not going to cut it anymore. It's not, people are too astute for that now. Those that have will do very well. Those that don't have the means to influence him will not do so well at all, but society has changed since that worked for his father. Okay, sorry if I sound tired. Migraines do leave me feeling exhausted, but I did want to get back on and do this particular reading for you. So thank you for persevering with me. Love you all. I'm going to upload this and then go and have another nap. And stay strong, take care of yourselves, and I shall see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.